Great. Okay. So welcome everybody to our December ANC3C meeting. Rachel, could you go over notice?
Yes, notice was sent out to the listservs and on Twitter and our website as well.
Great, thank you. And I'll jump back because I didn't say this while it was recorded. We have quorum. We have 5 of 9 commissioners here. I'm sorry, 6 of 9 commissioners here. And so we'll get going. All right, so we've got our agenda, and I'm going to throw our agenda in the chat. And commissioners, if you are, is everybody okay with the agenda? Are there any changes?
I have a slight modification, Chair Finley.
Okay, Commissioner Siddiqui, what is your, so you're going to move to amend our agenda?
Yes, I will move. Well, I guess I have a question if this needs a modification. But I'll move to amend the agenda so that the third item, consideration of a motion to approve nominations of Warren Gorlick, Naihua Duan, and Tammy Gordon to the ANC3C Transportation Committee. I would like to add the name Mike Reifer, and he will be on behalf of the Cleveland Park Citizens Association nominated to be a member of the committee.
Great. I think that, okay, so if there's a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Packets. So, okay, let's see, anybody opposed? Seeing no opposition, hearing no opposition. Let's see, we approved our calendar. I'm sorry, I've got to respond to Rachel. I'm sorry about that, Rachel. I've got, sorry, it's the 5 commissioners, right? Is it 5 or 6?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too.
I miscounted. We have 5. We still have quorum, but we only have 5 right now. I know Commissioner Hoyt registered. Hopefully he'll join us shortly. Okay, moving on. So are there any announcements? And if you have trouble unmuting yourself, please just raise your hand and I'll ask you to unmute. Okay. No announcements. Do any members of the public want to ask any questions or raise concerns about any issues that are not otherwise on our agenda this evening? Okay, we can always come back to that if need be. All right, and there's nothing on the consent calendar today. And now first order of business is the consideration of the 2022 ANC3C meeting dates. Rachel, could you go over those with us?
Yes, just give me 1 second to pull it up.
Sure thing, sure thing. If you could share that screen, that would be great.
Yes, I'm working it on a different computer, so let me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I think I can do it, but just give me a second.
Sure.
Chair Finley, can I ask a question? And while we're waiting for Rachel to share screen, this is a question that was posed to me by someone in another part of the ward. They asked me how quickly we post the audio of our meetings.
So we don't post the audio; we post the video.
But the video has audio.
The video has audio. It's not just our pretty faces. So that kind of varies. There's no set time on that, but all of our prior meetings are available on our YouTube channel for this, since we started using this Zoom account. Okay.
So full disclosure, the person told me that the reason they were asking is that a certain ANC, and I'm not going to mention the names of the ANCs, post their videos the day after the meeting, and the ANC that this person was most interested in had no scheduled date, and sometimes it would be a month or more before the video would actually get posted, and they were disgruntled, and so they were sort of doing a survey about what other ANCs are doing.
Unfortunately, we're in that boat of no set limit, but we can certainly move to that.
At least we're recording it. a lot of ANCs that aren't even doing that. So
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Great.
then maybe that's something we should aspire to.
Yes. Oh, I
Have-
agree.
have a-
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Have
Absolutely.
an anticipated time where people can know.
Yes.
what they
Yeah.
want.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. Rachel, are you all set? Or do you need another moment?
Yes, I think so. I'm just trying to delete some of, because it was in an email, so I was.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I apologize. I did not give you warning that I would be asking you to share these dates.
It's okay. Okay. I also have included the PNZ meetings on the list, but it is in the chat as well.
Thank you.
So,
Okay, it looks like you sent that just to me. I will share the
Oh,
public
whoops.
meeting. No, that's okay.
I'm
I'll just
sorry.
copy and paste it. All right. Does that work for everybody? You see it in the chat?
Mhm.
And I believe Commissioner Siddiqui, since you chair the Transportation Committee, you also have some dates. I think, I'm not sure. And I know Commissioner Paggett, you proposed dates as well for the transparency. I'm sorry, for the grants committee.
So Commissioner Finley, you had mentioned that we do not vote on committee dates.
Right, we don't. But if you want to share them now, you're welcome to. It's not essential. But yeah,
Okay.
we'll be voting on the public meeting dates, and so all commissioners, I hope you can see that it's January 19th, which is a Wednesday because of Martin Luther King Day, February 22nd, which is a Tuesday due to President's Day, March 21st, April 18th, May 16th, those are all Mondays, June 22nd, which is a Wednesday due to the Juneteenth holiday, July 18th, September 19th, October 17th, November 14th, and that's earlier than normal due to, I believe, HPRB conflict, which I'm reading that note there, and December 19th. So,
and I think I forgot to add, I think Nancy had mentioned December being earlier as well.
yes, that December date, I believe, is early as well. Yes, thank you for pointing that out. That way, otherwise we'd be getting very close to a holiday. Okay. Commissioners, these are the motions for the dates. I guess I'll move them. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Siddiqui. All those, a discussion on these dates. I know we've kind of had email discussion about them in advance. So, okay. All those in favor of these dates for next year for our public meetings, the third Monday of the month, please raise your hand. Great. Okay. All those opposed? All those abstaining? All right, great. So it passes unanimously. Thank you so much. And we'll move on to the Porter Street Safety Improvement Resolution, which I will move. So the background's in the whereas, so you'll hear it here. So whereas there are several safety issues along the segment of Porter Street Northwest between Quebec Street and Beach Drive, including unsafe crosswalks, high speeds by drivers, cars entering a protected bicycle lane, and stop sign running. Whereas according to crash data, there have been at least 41 reported crashes on this segment of Porter Street Northwest over the past 6 years. Whereas there have been at least 2 traffic crashes on Porter Street in 2021 that resulted in serious injuries to those hit by automobiles. Whereas the first known crash involved a vehicle striking a cyclist and occurred at the crosswalk across Porter Street at Williamsburg Lane on April 24th. Whereas the second known crash involved a vehicle striking a pedestrian and occurred at the crosswalk across Porter Street at Williamsburg Lane on August 23rd. Whereas high speeds by drivers in both directions create unsafe conditions for pedestrians and cyclists. Whereas the steep grades, roughly 7%, coupled with limited intersections and no signaling, encourage drivers to exceed posted speed limits. Whereas 3 crosswalks in this segment of Porter Street provide pedestrians with limited visibility due to a mix of parked vehicles, foliage, and at night poor lighting. Whereas the district's use of automated speed enforcement on an uphill portion of Porter Street Northwest within this segment indicates knowledge of the high speeds on this segment. Whereas deployment of speed cameras may provide revenue for the district, better road design will have a larger positive impact on pedestrian and cyclist safety. Whereas the intersection of Porter Street and Williamsburg Lane includes 5 lanes of traffic from Porter Street Northwest, whereas drivers exiting Beach Drive toward westbound Porter Street frequently do not stop at the stop sign at Williamsburg Lane. Therefore, be it resolved, ANC3C requests the transition of existing crosswalks to raised crosswalks at 2732 Porter Street, 2501 Porter Street, and at the intersection with Williamsburg Lane. Be it resolved, ANC3C requests the installation of rapid flashing beacons to the crosswalks at those same crosswalks. Be it resolved that ANC3C requests the addition of repositioning of both flex posts and parking blocks at the entrance of the protected portion of the Porter Street Northwest bicycle lane just east of 2501 Porter Street Northwest to better indicate the presence of a bicycle lane to drivers. Be it resolved that ANC3C requests that the District Department of Transportation expedite the traffic safety investigation filed under SR number 21-00528638. Be it resolved that ANC3C requests that the District Department of Transportation consider how to reduce the number of traffic lanes on Porter Street at the intersection with Williamsburg Lane to improve traffic safety and flow. Be it further resolved that the Chair, Commissioner for the ANC3C04, or their designees are authorized to represent the Commission regarding this resolution. So are there any questions, Commissioners? Comments? Okay, we'll open it up to the public. Folks, if you have a question or comment, please raise your hand, and I'll call on you. Oh, I see Madeline O'Brien.
Oh, all right. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I don't know why these things are all up. My name is Madeline O'Brien. I'm actually a former resident of Ward 3, but not anymore. But my best friend and former roommate is the person that got hit on August 23rd in the crosswalk on Porter Street. And I'm just here to support her tonight and seeing the lengthy recovery she went through and the very traumatic experience, that I would hope that this is something that never happens to a person again. And I do see there's someone from Mary Che's office on the call tonight, and she is the head of the Transportation Committee. And I'm hoping that in addition to the ANC taking action on this, that Councilwoman Che's office and DDOT will take this seriously and move forward, because we're so lucky that Tara's okay, and next time we might not be so lucky. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further comment? Okay. Well, Commissioners, that's. Do you have any discussion at all? Any proposed changes? Commissioner McWood, thank you so much for your proposed change. That helped me really spell out the two accidents. So. Crashes. Thank you.
No problem. No, you did a really good job with this. Thank you, and thank you to the community that really engaged with this. And so sorry that happened to Tara and anybody and everybody else who's been traumatized by that particular intersection.
Yeah, I really want to thank Madeline, Tara, and their friend Hannah for bringing this up to me and for being willing to work with me on this, and also the work that the coordination and comments that the Williamsburg Lane Area Association was able to provide. That was very helpful too. So thank you all very much. Okay, we'll move to a vote now. Commissioners, do we still have Commissioner McWood? We do. Okay, Commissioners, if you could raise your hand if you support this resolution. So all those in favor, 4, 5. Okay, great. All those opposed? No other commissioners here. All those abstaining, same problem. Okay, the resolution passes unanimously. Thank you, Commissioners. And we will now move on to the next portion of our agenda. Commissioner Siddiqui, this is yours.
Thank you, Commissioner Finley. So I'm very proud to have a motion to move to nominate community members to our ANC3C Safe, Sustainable, and Equitable Transportation Committee. There's as people have seen who've attended this Transportation Committee meeting, it's been very popular. A lot of people have brought up a lot of issues, and it's helped us engage better with the community. This is a chance, and to clarify for everyone, committees don't make decisions. These are just, they help do the work that eventually comes to the ANC3C that does make the decision. So I'm very excited that there's 4 community members here that are willing to serve on the Transportation Committee and work with all of us to help improve things. And I believe Tammy Gordon is here and Warren Gorlick is here. And if it's okay with other commissioners, I would just like them to say hi and introduce themselves, and just, you know, feel free to talk a little bit about what inspired you to be on the committee and what do you hope to do. Oh, and if you do know your SMD, please mention that, single member district. Please mention that as well. So Tammy, why don't you go first?
Sure. Hi, it's nice to meet everyone. I live on Ordway Street, and I think I originally probably reached out, I think in particular, you know, working and living in the same place for the past 2 years. I work remotely, it's sort of in perpetuity now. You know, it's just sort of like, I think all of the things that are happening, particularly on Connecticut Avenue, you know, are just a half a block away from me. So whether it's the construction, what happens ahead, you know, I very much enjoyed biking around during the pandemic when there was a lot less traffic, and now it's a lot scarier. And so I think, you know, one of the things I reached out about was, you know, as we sort of, you know, rebuild this or think about what's ahead, how do we look at this in sort of a multimodal transportation way? How do we take into account multiple generations living in the same area? And, you know, I'm just really passionate about all of that. And, you know, no end to the pandemic in sight. So also obviously need to sort of protect the outdoor dining at some level. So you know, lots of questions, not a lot of answers there, but I would love to help be a part of the solution.
Thanks so much, Tammy. And Tammy is in, I believe, 3C04. Cool. Warren, please go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and your interests.
Thanks, Wally. So yes, I'm in Commissioner Gersten's district, 3C08. I live on Cortlandt Place. And in fact, next, maybe I'm jumping the gun, but next month I'm hoping that Commissioner Gersten will be able to present a motion about speed humps on Cortlandt Place that is very important to us, because we have a playground on one side of Cortlandt Place, and the traffic, particularly in the morning, has really gotten out of hand in the last 3 or 4 years. But more broadly, I've gotten increasingly interested in transportation issues. I've worked with Commissioner Siddiqui and others on the proposal to put a protected bike lane at Connecticut Avenue, which I think will be very exciting, not just for the cycling community, but just the overall safety and turning Connecticut Avenue back to what I think was the original conception, which was a broad grand avenue and not like a super highway for Maryland commuters. So I'm very interested in these kind of issues. I'm, just by way of background, I'm also the Woodley Park Community Association Secretary. I've been doing that role for some years. And in my professional life, I'm an attorney with the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission doing financial derivatives law. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren. And I will just introduce Naihua Duan. He couldn't make it tonight. He really tried to, and he had a family engagement. But Naihua Duan lives in Commissioner Lee Brian Riba's SMD, 3C01. And he is very interested in buses, and he's very interested in saving bus lines and having buses run on time. In fact, he sort of started a group. He sent me a photo that I actually should have sent out to everyone, but it was a photo of him and a bunch of other people that live in our community, and it said, "Save our buses." And he's very interested in sort of all issues related to bus transit as well. So he will be the third person that is nominated. And then the fourth person that I modified the agenda for is Michael Reifer, and he's in my SMD, 3C05. But I believe we are nominating him as basically a representative from the Cleveland Park Citizens Association. And so, you know, this is something that I think is good, because then Mike can serve as a bridge between CPCA and the Transportation Committee. And it's something that I'm really excited about. Bar, I see you were here. If you wanted to say some comments about that, please feel free to on behalf of Mike or anything else.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Swale. And thank you very much for making the effort to kind of loop us into this and get us on the agenda on such short order for tonight. Yeah, Mike's a terrific guy. For those who don't know him, he's been on the board for CPCA since 2018. He's in his second term now. He's very active and productive for us. I'm sure he'll be terrific for this committee. And I agree with Swale that it'd be great to have somebody kind of liaising between us and the committee. As you know, we've been pretty active on transportation issues on our side as well. In fact, Swale was involved with some of that when he was on our board. And Mike is on that transportation committee for CPCA right now, and has worked on the veritable lane issues, slow streets, various other sorts of transportation we've been addressing in the last couple of years. So he's interested in the topic. He's pretty informed. He's well informed as far as we are, and I know he's happy to continue to be involved. He's been going to the meetings pretty regularly up until now. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Barb. And I just also want to clarify to the commission, this is the first time, at least I'm doing this. And, I think the process of getting people on, the community members on the committee, again, I think in the beginning, I actually encourage all commissioners, if you do have more people that you would like to see on the committee, please nominate them. Because I think the more people we have, the better. And most of the initial meetings will happen at our public meeting on Wednesday. So unless there's some work to be done specifically, we will try and do all these meetings in public because we know it's a new committee and we want to make sure that everyone is involved. So that's the goal. And I would like to move to nominate these 4 community members to the committee.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, commissioners, any discussion? Okay. Folks attending, any discussion about the nominees?
I just want to thank them for raising their hands to do this, and also for the recruiter there.
Good job, Commissioner Siddiqui. So yeah, okay. So
thank you, though.
Oh, okay. So all those in favor of the nominees, commissioners, please raise your hand. Great. All those opposed? Seeing none. All those abstaining? Seeing none. Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations and welcome to the Transportation Committee. Okay. So that concludes our... Oh, sure. Go ahead, Commissioner Siddiqui.
Actually, I wanted to circle back to Commissioner McWood's comment about recording meetings. And I wanted to see if we did want to have a little bit of a discussion about that, because there was also a comment in the chat, I believe from Bob Ward, that said that if the committee meetings could also be recorded. So I kind of wanted to bring that up if we are talking about it. And also Commissioner Finley, completely aware that this burden is all on you. And it's if there's an easier way to do this, like you processing things, putting them on YouTube, like, is there some way this can be facilitated in a way that's not a burden on you? I mean, we're also going to have another committee, right? And so if we do want to be public and transparent, we're going to have to find a way to make these all available. I know the Transportation Committee and these meetings you do put them on YouTube, but I kind of wanted to discuss so that it's not an overwhelming thing for you.
Well, actually, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I think it would be great if we could get a commission Zoom account. So I'm not using my personal account for the two of the 3 committees, or 3 of the 4 committees, and the commission. So yeah, that would be something I think we should try to get started. I think we'd have to vote on the expenditure. I'm not totally sure, but it would be great if we could get started, if not for January, then for February, and moving forward, where we have a commission account. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. And then I think the chairs of committees, I think, would be the ones to be responsible to upload to YouTube. But I understand that, that's a lot of access to one account. So maybe we want to streamline that and maybe have Rachel do it. I'm not sure.
So one comment, if we do get an account, I know you upload to YouTube and that's great, but if you get an account, then that's good enough. Your Zoom video links actually don't expire. So that could also be an option where we're not uploading to YouTube. But I don't think it'll be too much access if we, it's basically going to be 4 of us logging in and to try and get to it.
Yeah, if it's limited to just the officers of the commission, I think that's fine. And then
committee chairs too, right?
What? Oh yeah, that too. There's 4 of both of those. But yeah, I also think like some sort of something on the website could easily be finagled to have it accessible there too. Cause I don't know if you can find the YouTube link from there.
You can. Let's see, I'm gonna go to the November meeting. I've got the page up now.
It's a little clunky.
Well, yeah, that's something I think that's a maybe, yeah, point well taken, but maybe beyond the scope of
Fair.
but yeah, the website, yeah, we could try to make it a little less clunky, or a lot less clunky.
I agree. It would be helpful to have a single Zoom account for the ANC that all the committees could participate in. I don't have any objection to videotaping, but I think it's a priority to get the public meetings where we're taking votes, to get those videos up. The Zoom meetings for the committee meetings are all open to the public. And we don't make any decisions there, but I'm sure it would be helpful to people to be able to, if they're interested, to see what went on at a particular meeting. But I really think the monthly meetings are the priority.
Thank you. Bar, did you have a comment?
This may not be too relevant since you're using YouTube. I just wanted to mention that we're working through this process for CPCA this year, and Zoom is very expensive for storage. So we moved to Google, and we're kind of posting from there. So just FYI, in case that's something useful for you guys to consider as well. It seems like a pretty good, easy option.
Are you using Google Hangouts then, or whatever they're calling their video chat? Are you using
we're still using Zoom for the calls themselves, but we're pulling it up into Google for storage.
Okay, great.
I can send you the details if you're interested in.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Commissioner Siddiqui?
Yeah, I think we just need to come up with a plan. And again, I don't want this to be pressure on committee chairs or even you, Commissioner Finley. And I agree with Commissioner McWood that priority should be meetings where we're taking votes. But I also don't want us to leave behind the committee meetings, only because I think there's discussions that are had over there that would be very useful for community members to go and see again. I mean, for example, like we very quickly voted on your resolution right now, Commissioner Finley, but that was because we had such really good community engagement at our transportation committee. And for people to see that again, for that video to be available, for us to link that video to DDOT talking when people talk about, when Tara talked about the crash and stuff like that, like I think that there's a certain amount of usefulness in that. It's also helpful, for example, a lot of times, for us not to, so for example, us not to repeat a lot of things, we can send our agendas out with links to the previous meeting. Say, hey, we're not going to try and repeat a lot of the information. Here is a video link. Again, I'm not trying to make more work for us. I actually think this will be less work for us in the long run, especially if we come up with a system we can record all this.
So Commissioner McWood made a good point that this is beyond the scope of tonight's agenda. So we should either, if we're going to continue this discussion, amend the agenda, or perhaps table it for January and have some offline discussion so we can present some concrete ideas.
I agree with Commissioner McWood. Thank you.
Okay, great. So everybody's okay moving on? Great. Okay. So we've completed commission business for this evening. Other business, we'd start with the Secretary's report. And Commissioner McWood, I didn't get a chance to read in depth what Secretary Reba sent. Did he have a Secretary's report as well as an SMD report, or just the SMD report?
He sent the Secretary's report separately.
Okay.
In an earlier email, I think.
Okay. And is it, would anybody like
very straightforward.
Okay. Would anybody like to read that aloud for the record, or? Don't all speak at once.
I believe it were just the minutes, right, Commissioner?
Just the minutes?
Yeah, it was just the minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I have his SMD report to read.
Okay. So all right.
I would like to move approval of the November 15th, 2021 minutes for the ANC3C meeting.
Okay.
Second.
Great. Here they are for everybody to see. They're pretty straightforward. Hey, commissioners, any Any questions or discussion? Okay, so we'll move to a vote. All those commissioners in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, all those opposed, none. All those abstaining, none. Great, okay, it passes unanimously. Treasurer Siddiqui, do you have a treasurer's report?
Yeah. The only expenditure in the last month, we're paying for our administrator, Rachel Worsham's work hours, and it was a total of $540.84.
Great, thank you, and I assume we'll get together soon and sign that check.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, we'll move to single member district reports. And Commissioner McWood, do you want to start us off with Commissioner Reba's report?
Yeah, I'll do my best impression of Lee Bryan. He wrote it down though, so that's going to make it easy. So there are 3 items he wanted to raise. One is refers to the Kennedy Warren. There are still complaints regarding poor performances of the traffic signal at the Kennedy Warren garage exit on Connecticut Avenue, adjacent to the National Zoo entrance exit. While I plan, and that's Lee Bryan in the first person, plan to meet with residents, I've reached out to Tony Donaldson, Ward 3, Mocha, multiple times with no response to date. I have since reached out to Jackie Reyes Yanes, the new director of the Mayor's Office of Community Affairs, and will also reach out to Christian Pinero, DDOT's Community Engagement Specialist for Ward 3. Second item he has refers to the Woodley Park Commercial District. First item is Han Palace, formerly Starbucks, will not open this month as planned due to supply chain issues, which is also delaying their DCRA occupancy certificate. The grand opening will be based on when the certificate of occupancy is received, and anticipated opening is slated for mid-January. The second item in the commercial area, the building owner of the former Dunkin' Donuts space is still working a good use for the space. And the last item refers to the National Zoo. And I think Commissioner Rivas mentioned this before, but I know this breaks his heart, so he's mentioning it again. The Smithsonian made the difficult decision to cancel several events that traditionally take place in the fall. And sadly, the next canceled event on the calendar is Zoo Lights. That's the end of his report.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Fink is absent. Commissioner Packets?
All right, that was an excellent impression, Commissioner McWood. So I'll follow up with Commissioner Reba about the light issue, because that's right across from where I live, and I had better luck in my prior life, prior to being a commissioner, just contacting the Vision Zero people about the crosswalk light. So they actually came out and did fix that a few years ago. Working on there are multiple issues up on that Cortlandt Street by the Mosquito Park. It's the border of Vicky and I's SMDs. So we're joining forces on a few things that the residents up there have asked for. So hopefully some things are changed sooner than later. And I think that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Commissioner Packets. Okay, I'll give a brief update. Obviously the Porter Street issues were the big part of the past month or so of ANC work for me. The big thing coming up seems to be that residents, my neighbors on Quebec Street, are fond of the speed table idea on Quebec Street. So who knows? Maybe we'll have a speed table on Quebec Street eventually at some point too. So that's that, and the dumpster outside St. Arnold's is it's still there, hoping we can get it moved shortly, because it seems like most of the work inside the building has been complete in renovating after their fire. So that's it for me. Commissioner Siddiqui?
So Hearst Park and Pool construction site, there's the Department of General Services posted a response to a letter I sent them finally. And so now I'm conducting community input to respond to them again. And while responding, there's another new issue that has come up. which is related to the number of lights that are on at Hearst Park and Pool. For people who know the area, it used to be a quiet park. There was, barely minimal lighting, which kept with the quiet neighborhood. And now that they have installed incredibly bright lights on multiple pathways, and so residents living inside their homes, it's basically a park that's lit up at night. And the community sort of feeling that was there with a quiet community is not there. One thing I heard from Councilmember White's staff was it could be a safety issue, and so they wanted to ask me if that was, and me ask the residents if that was really an issue. And everyone who I talked to said that they've lived next to that park for decades. Well, not everyone lived next to the decade, but some people who have lived next to the park for decades said safety has never been an issue. And so they are not worried about that. They would like those lights to be turned off. And so I will be including that in my reply to Department of General Services. And nothing further from me.
Thank you, Commissioner Siddiqui. Commissioner Hoyt texted me, and unfortunately, he is under the weather due to his booster shot. So hopefully, we'll see him back in action in January. Commissioner Gersten, do you have any updates?
I don't have too much. I think the theme of this past month has been crosswalks and raised crosswalks. There's been a lot of paving in our neighborhoods where DDOT didn't come back and put the raised crosswalks, which already existed, back. And so a lot of residents have been talking about that. We're kind of returning to that issue. Yeah, that's about all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner McWood, speaking on your own behalf.
Yeah, now back to myself. Two things. One, Petco has been in my SMD over the last few weeks. They have been replacing light poles or actually wire poles, utility poles with much larger ones. I think Commissioner Gersten already probably saw this in her SMD because I think a bunch went up on 34th Street. They are quite large, and the wires that go on them are quite large. But what we're working on right now is to make sure that all the, particularly the cable providers, remove their wires from the old poles and attach them to the new poles so that the old poles can be taken down. The second thing I wanted to mention is there's been a mystery on Mccomb Street, primarily between Connecticut Avenue and Ross Place for a number of weeks. I've been getting strange emails about surveyors in people's yards, and they didn't hire them, and who are they, and what are they doing? Took a while to unravel this, and believe it, and it's DDOT, our favorite department. They about 2 years ago, DDOT scheduled a project to repave Mccomb Street between 34th and Connecticut Avenue. After walking the street with several officials from DDOT, it was determined that between Ross Place and Connecticut Avenue, the condition of the curbs and sidewalks, which were not scheduled to be redone, were not to code, were unsafe. We've been complaining for years about drainage issues and flooding because the curbs weren't able to hold back the water, and so we were having icing on sidewalks and a lot of different issues. Long story short, after doing some initial investigation, DDOT determined that that section of the roadway should be further investigated by their sort of design and engineering shop. And indeed, they did ask or commissioned surveyors to go to determine exactly where the public parking part of everyone's lot ended. As most people know, while you maintain the front yard of your property, in many places around the district, there is a portion from the street into your property that is actually public land. And so DDOT wanted to learn where the public parking boundaries were in that part of the street. Also, they're going to do some borings on Wednesday to determine where rock is and where the water table is. There will be a meeting in mid-January to sort of scope what the issues are for the community, explain what the findings are, and what the process will be moving forward. Consultant has been hired. There's likely to be a charrette at the end of January with the residents on Mccomb Street to try to determine how to make the sidewalks safer and work on some of these issues regarding code compliance. So that's the answer to the mystery. And so there'll be some public meetings going forward about this.
Thank you, Commissioner McWood. Before we adjourn, Bar's virtual hand shot up early on in your comments. So Bar,
okay.
Seems like you have a question.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to keep you guys. Just a quick question for Nancy. If I was hearing correctly, the story had been that for the utility poles, they're planning to leave the old poles there. Has there been any discussion about whether they actually might take those poles down at some point, or is that really not going to happen?
No, it will definitely happen. Oh yeah, it will definitely happen. It may take a while. It may take a lot of contacts, but there basically is a hierarchy. Petco has the top area of the pole, DDOT has the next part, and then goes down to RCN and Comcast and what have you. And they sequence taking the wires down and moving them onto the new poles. So it's just keeping after Petco to keep after all the different utility users to move the wires off. Once the wires are off, then Petco will remove the old poles.
Oh, great. Well, if we can be of any help, please let me know. Thank you.
Sure, I'd love more nudging. Thank you. You'll hear from me.
Okay. Okay.
Thanks, Bar. Thank you, Commissioner McWood. Is there anything else before we wrap up? Any motions to, I don't know, adjourn?
I would like to move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay. Any opposition? All right, motion passes.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. Have a great one, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Bye.